Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I will show you how to program an LED with the control of a button. But before we get into the programming, I'd like to discuss pull up and pull down resistors because they're involved with the way the button works in MicroPython. Okay, so let's start by considering the pull down resistor. Suppose we have a microcontroller here, we call that MCU. We have a switch, let's call that S. We have a 5-volt signal here, or logic 1. Now we have a resistor, we'll call that R, and that connects to ground, or logic 0. So let's have a closer look at this. When this switch is open, the current from the microcontroller will have no choice but to go this way, travel to ground, because when this is open, it's an open circuit. So when S is open, that means logic 0. When the switch is closed, that means we're at logic 1. Because when the switch is closed, the current will, instead of going this way, will travel this way to the 5-volt signal, because this is the path of least resistance when the switch is closed. There's no resistor here. And a little word on the resistor is typically 10k ohms, 10,000 ohms resistance. That's the typical value of a pull-up or pull-down resistor. And just to remind you, with Ohm's law, let's look at the cause and effect of Ohm's law. If the resistance increases, the current decreases. Okay? That's just for your understanding. Now let's look at pull-up resistors. It's the same setup really, but this time it's kind of the inverse. So here we have a resistor, the 5-volt signal, and this time the switch is connected to ground. Okay, so let's have a closer look at this. When this switch is open, this is an open circuit. The current will have no choice but to flow through this resistor to the 5-volt signal. So that means when the switch is open, we're at logic 1. When the switch is closed, the current will take the path of least resistance to ground, or logic 0. So that's the basic theory of pull up and pull down resistors. I hope that was of some benefit for your understanding. So now let's start programming on MicroPython.
Okay, so to start with this, we're going to import the classes that we need from the library that we need. So from the machine library, we're going to import pin, and from the time library, we're going to import sleep. So let's start by defining the button, pin, B pin. We're going to connect it to GP17 on the Pico. Then we make this variable button. We use the pin class here, input the pin number, define it as an input, and we'll define it here as pull down resistor. Then we're going to define the LED pin. We're going to connect it to GP16. Then we use the pin class again, input the pin number, define it as an output. And we'll just make another variable here called button state, which will kind of log the value of the button when it's pressed. So we make an infinite loop here now, and we make button state equal to the button value, like this. So if button state is equal to 1, the LED will turn on. Otherwise, the LED will turn off. And we'll just add a delay there of 0.1 seconds to reduce CPU usage. So now let's build the circuit and give this code a try.
Okay, here's everything we need to assemble the circuit. So we have the breadboard, the Raspberry Pi Pico, we have a resistor, and that resistor goes with this LED. We have the button, and just 4 wires here. So let's start by wiring the LED. We're going to connect it to GP16, but first we're going to put the resistor here. And for good practice, we're going to wire it in this way with the colors, so that the red wire is the signal. That's not... There we go. That's... Okay, that's all connected, all good. Now let's connect the button. Just press it on like that. We're going to connect this black wire to 3.3 volts over here. And we'll connect this orange wire to GP17. Okay, now that should be all ready to go. Let's run the code. So when I press this, let's get the wires out of the way. When I press this button, it's logic state 1, and logic state 1 means the LED will turn on according to the code. Okay, so now let's have a look at the code and adjust this to show you what pull up resistor does as well. So we'll make that pull up, and we'll make it so that when we're at logic state 0, the LED will turn on. Now let's wire it accordingly. So this black wire is originally going to 3.3 volts for pull down. Now we'll move that to ground for pull up. Let's run that code. So that now when we're normally at logic state 1 now, but when I press this button, the LED will turn on with logic state 0. Just like that. Okay, so that's a button LED control for you. And pull up and pull down resistors I explained to you as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.